And I have the privilege of serving as the Member of Provincial Parliament for Wellington-Halton Hills, just down the road from here. It's great to be here in Guelph. I don't mind coming down to the big city once in a while. Before I turn things over to the Mayor, I just want to, it's great to have the Premier here with us this morning, and I want to take this opportunity to thank the Premier for supporting key investments in our community. Just a couple quick examples. We've got $9 million to expand St. Mary's Elementary School in Elora, over $4 million for the Guelph-Wellington family health teams to connect thousands of people in this region to primary care, and over $6 million given to Centre Wellington to expand wastewater services in Fergus. So, Premier, it's thanks to you and your leadership and your focus on the economy that we're able to make these key investments in our community, so I wanted to thank you for that. And with that, I want to turn things over to His Worship, Mayor Guthrie.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for coming to Guelph, and to the Premier and to strong team here. I want to thank you very much for coming here today to this center. Looking forward to the announcement that's happening here, and on behalf of the City of Guelph and Council, we just really appreciate you coming here today. I do want to also thank all the ministers that are here and the Premier for constantly thinking about all of Ontario, but including Guelph as well, and it does not go unnoticed. So we want to thank you so much for all the support you've given to our city and to me and our council. It does not go unnoticed. So thank you again, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Mayor Guthrie. I have to just begin by acknowledging Joseph Rosinski has been a huge champion. You know, he talked about a few of the things that he's helped deliver for this community, and I can tell you at Queen's Park, for this region, he is a tireless advocate. He is a fierce champion for your community. And Joseph, I just want to acknowledge your leadership here in this community. You've been a tremendous, tremendous champion, and it's noted and appreciated. Good morning, everyone. It's a privilege to be able to be here, and I want to acknowledge, of course, Premier Ford, my colleagues, Minister Fedeli, Minister Crawford, MPP Rosinski. We're here today with some very, very exciting news, and you're going to hear about how Ontario has built and developed a world-class AI jurisdiction. With more than 1,600 AI-related companies, a tech workforce of almost 450,000, and over 1,100 AI-related master's graduates annually. And I've had the opportunity to meet with our amazing workforce from across this province, whether it's Pure Colo in Ottawa, Ascent in Cambridge, Digital Innovation Lab in Kitchener, or Equinix in Brampton. We've seen firsthand how committed these folks are to benefiting the local communities that they operate in, and that's what we're committed to. We know that digital infrastructure growth can provide unique opportunities for our great province, but we do need to be thoughtful and strategic in how we embrace this growth to support jobs and to support families. Now, the projects that we will be choosing need to bring meaningful investment and direct benefits to communities in Ontario. We need to also be well equipped to deliver the power that they require and protect ratepayers. It's why Minister Lecce introduced Ontario's first ever integrated energy plan, the Energy for Generations. It was a roadmap that the Premier committed to building out the strongest energy system in the G7, making Ontario an energy superpower that can attract, retain world-class investments and support good-paying jobs. But we know that digital infrastructure facilities like this one consume large amounts of electricity. We are focused on protecting Ontario's ratepayers by ensuring that data centers will be responsible for 100% of their electricity system costs. And we're prioritizing the energy needs of data centers that will support the Canadian economy, protect our data sovereignty, and also create good-paying jobs for the people of our great province. Ontario has huge potential in so many areas, and also in becoming a global leader in digital innovation. Premier Ford has led the charge on ensuring that we have the strongest, most competitive economy in the G7, and we are also going to continue to create the jobs of the future. Now, to speak more about the importance of our data sovereignty and the work that we're laying out, I'd like to invite the Minister of Public and Business Service Delivery and Procurement, Stephen Crawford, to the podium.
Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here today as Ontario's Minister of Public and Business Service Delivery and Procurement, and an honor to join Premier Doug Ford, the Honourable Vic Fedeli, and the Honourable Sam Oosterhoff. I'd also like to recognize MPP Joseph Rosinski and Mayor Cam Guthrie. Today marks an important step in strengthening Ontario's position as a leader in emerging technologies and artificial intelligence. We need to establish a clear framework for attracting digital infrastructure investments while ensuring they align with the province's economic and community priorities. Technologies like artificial intelligence, cloud computing, and advanced digital services all rely on secure, reliable foundations. AI is already demonstrating significant productivity benefits, and given the talent in our province, we have an opportunity to continue to build on that momentum. And that's why our government is encouraging investments that strengthen Ontario's technology ecosystem, advance data sovereignty, and deliver benefits for all Ontarians. Our work builds on the strong foundation Ontario has already established through the Trustworthy AI Framework and the Enhancing Digital Security and Trust Act. As we embrace AI and other transformational technologies, Ontario remains committed to ensuring innovation is deployed responsibly, transparently, and securely. That means protecting people's data, maintaining public confidence, and ensuring these technologies are used in ways that benefit Ontarians. As we continue building the infrastructure needed for a digital future, we also need to have strong national safeguards against emerging threats, including AI-generated deepfakes and impersonation technologies that can be used to deceive and exploit vulnerable Canadians. That's why Ontario is calling on the federal government not only to ban these harmful practices, but to ensure the individuals behind them face real consequences. If Canada wants to be a global leader in AI, innovation and accountability and public trust must go hand in hand. Ontario stands ready to work with our federal partners to unlock opportunities that AI presents while protecting Canadians from those who seek to misuse it. By supporting responsible innovation, strengthening digital sovereignty, and creating the framework for critical infrastructure, Ontario is positioning itself for long-term success. Together, we can create jobs, attract investment, and ensure the benefits of emerging technologies are felt in communities right across this province. So thank you very much. I'd now like to pass it over to Minister Fedeli.
Thank you very much, Minister Crawford, colleagues, Premier. Good morning, everybody. It's great to be here in Guelph. As the global economy continues to shift, our government has recognized the urgency with which new opportunities and challenges need to be met, and we continue to take bold action to ensure Ontario remains competitive. For decades, data centers have served as the quiet digital backbone of our everyday life. Whether you've stored photos of family gatherings and memories to the cloud, sent an email, saved a document to your online drive, or accessed your medical records, made financial transactions, digital infrastructure is what's made all of that possible. The rapid global expansion of AI, machine learning, and cloud computing in recent years has increased our need for compute requirements and new digital infrastructure. So with this, Ontario has seen an increase in data center proposals. Managed responsibly, data centers present a significant opportunity for capital investment, economic growth, stronger sovereign digital infrastructure, and data governance for Ontario. However, not every data center proposal will deliver the same value to Ontario. We've heard the concerns raised by municipalities and stakeholders around data centers. We've also seen the shortcomings of how other jurisdictions have approached data centers in their communities, which is why our government intends to navigate the expansion of digital infrastructure in Ontario in a way that not only accelerates economic growth, but prioritizes our province's interests. A clear strategic framework that guides data infrastructure investments is vital to ensuring that Ontario's businesses, workers, and communities' data stay protected and our economy remains secure. And through it all, we will ensure that Ontario's voices are heard. Ontario has everything it takes to be a leader in embracing digital infrastructure expansion. We're here to meet the moment, and with a defined framework, we will be even better positioned to leverage new community investments and create an end-to-end modern innovation economy. To bring up Premier Ford, I would say that all of the interest that we have in Ontario in locating their data centers here in Ontario comes from the fact that on day one, Premier Ford hung out a shingle that said open for business. That's why all of these companies around the world, around the country, and around the province are looking here to Ontario because of the climate that's been created. Premier Doug Ford.
Well, first of all, hello everyone, and it's great to be here in beautiful Guelph. Thank you, Mayor. I'll tell you, it's always booming in Guelph because your true leadership. As you heard from my great ministers, Fideli, Crawford, and Oosterhoff, and MVP Rosinski, thank you for representing not just this area, but a vast area that you cover. And our government was elected with a mandate to protect Ontario, and we're delivering on our plan. Well, we may not know and can be able to control President Trump. I don't know who can control that guy. He drives me crazy. But we're controlling the decisions and make what we make right here in Ontario by building the most competitive, resilient, and self-reliant economy in the entire G7. And we're doing that by cutting red tape, keeping taxes and fees low. We have never raised a tax. We will never raise a tax. We've done the total opposite. We're saving families and businesses $12 billion each and every single year. We've created the conditions for growth, attracting more than $235 billion in investment since 2018. Vic, I want to thank you. You travel all around the world. People have no idea how tiring that is. You're going there selling Ontario, selling Guelph, selling for the entire province. We want to thank you. And that $235 billion is a staggering number. But there's probably, we were discussing it the other day, Vic and I, is probably closer to what, $300 billion, because there's a lot of companies that don't want to put their names out there. So we're going to keep moving forward. And we created over 1 million new jobs. And those are good paying jobs in every corner of our province. And that's why in the last 4 months, we have led North America in job creation with over 119,000 jobs. And just last month alone, we led Canada with 52,000 jobs. Not only Canada, we led North America in 1 month, 52,000, but 4 months, 119,000 jobs. As President Trump threatens additional 50% tariffs, my message to the Americans, a tariff on Canada is a tax on the American people. They're feeling the pain. As we saw last month, they didn't have any job creation, so it's hurting the American people. That's my message to the American people. Remember, when it comes to the midterms, you have to get that bully and send them a message, including on goods that are covered by the Canada, United States, Mexico agreement. We're also doubling down on our $236 billion plan to build, which is the largest infrastructure plan of its kind in Canadian history. That's creating tens of thousands of jobs, building hospitals, over $64 billion, 50 sites. You're either getting a new hospital or an addition to a hospital. Schools, over $22 billion of schools, and you're getting them right here in Guelph, which we'll announce in a minute. Highways, we're spending over $30 billion in highways, and the largest expansion of transit in North America, over $80 billion, to connect communities, create jobs, and grow our economy. Because without a strong economy, I always say, the foundation of our healthcare system, of our education system, of our infrastructure is one thing, that's our economy. We can't deliver a world-class services that families and communities are counting on without a strong economy. As Guelph continues to grow under the great leadership of the mayor, we're adding 1,200 student spaces, expanding Rickson Ridge Public School and St. Rene Goupil. Is that right? Goupil. French Catholic School. While work is nearly complete on the brand new $61 million Guelph Public Secondary School, we've broken ground on the new and expanded Emergency Mental Health and Addiction Services Unit at Guelph General Hospital. And I want to thank everyone over at Guelph General Hospital. You're doing an incredible job to ensure more people in the region can access vital services close to home and when they need it. And when we have shortened travel times by 15 minutes from Kitchener Go, while we work to deliver two-way all-day service on the line. As we build for the future, Ontario is seeing an increasing number of proposals for new data centers, often associated with the use of artificial intelligence infrastructure, which have the potential to bring significant benefits to local economies, including millions of dollars in tax revenue. Data centers have been around for decades, not just to support AI, but for the goods and services everyone in Ontario relies on, from the internet, phones, and social media, to healthcare, banking, passwords, and other personal information. Ontario has a choice. We can build the economy of the future and ensure Canadians' data remains in Canada and out of President Trump's hands, or we can get left behind and risk Canadians' data being sent down to the U.S., where only President Trump, God knows what he will do with it. I don't trust that guy as far as I can throw him. That's why today I'm announcing Ontario is launching the framework for our data center playbook to help the province attract the best data center investments that drive economic growth, while ensuring Canadians' data remains right here in Canada. I keep emphasizing that, folks. We want to have sovereign data. We don't want to rely on President Trump getting his paws all over it. We want to focus on our data and make sure we have a sovereign system. And we deliver significant and meaningful benefits to local communities. Our framework will ensure data centers cover the full cost of their electricity usage, encouraging projects to build their own power generation, and establishing a separate rate class for large new data centers that is higher than the existing industrial rate programs for major electricity users. So no costs are passed on to the hardworking Ontario families. Ontario will not offer financial incentives to attract investments. Instead, we will rely on our natural competitive advantage, including our clean and reliable electricity system, available land, cool climate, and world-class workforce. We will only advance projects that strengthen Ontario and Canada's control over sensitive data. Folks, in this building here, anyone who lives in Ontario that has a driver's license, that has a health card, that's ever faced the judicial system, it's all stored right here to safeguard people's information and keep it out of the hands of President Trump. We will only advance projects that bring real benefits and significant investment in local infrastructure and host communities, including investments in community centers, parks, roads, broadband, infrastructure, home weatherization upgrades, apprenticeship programs, and other projects that commit to job creation and long-term economic growth. And with more modern technology available today than there was decades ago, our government will only advance projects that meet Ontario's strict environmental standards around water consumption and noise, prioritizing builds with closed-loop systems that use virtually no water during operations. By 2035, artificial intelligence adoption is expected to generate $122 billion in GDP for Ontario, creating more than 17,000 new jobs every year, and boosting productivity in everything from tech to life sciences and finance through our new data center playbook. Our government is choosing to build the economy of the future, to generate billions in economic growth, increase tax revenues, and create thousands of new jobs while ensuring data centers operate by the right rules, cover the full cost of their energy usage, and invest historic amounts in our communities. I want to thank you and may God bless the people of Ontario. Thank you. Nana and Mike, thank you for your service here. Two super bright people. So thank you for keeping our data safe here.
We will now begin to take questions from the media. Media present may line up behind me at the microphone. As a friendly reminder, the format is one question and one follow-up. Please state your name and your outlet before your question. First question.
Hi, I'm Lauren Kivenhoven from CBC Kitchener. This question is for Premier Ford.
Yes.
There are rumors swirling in Waterloo Region that a sitting mayor may also be asked to take on the role of regional chair. This could be seen as a conflict of interest. Can you say for certain that you will not appoint a sitting mayor to the chair position?
Well, what I will say is they have to put forward applications. We'll review applications, and we're going to pick the best person to serve the region. Thank you.
Follow-up is coming from Megan Fitzpatrick from CBC National
Hi,
Network
Megan.
News. Hi. Question for you about the trade negotiations ongoing in Washington right now. You've said before you wouldn't put U.S. alcohol back on LCBO shelves until there are no tariffs
That's right.
on Ontario products. But it appears as though what's being negotiated now is perhaps being put on the table, U.S. products going back on the shelves in exchange for lower tariffs, not no tariffs. Is that acceptable to you? If Prime Minister Carney calls you up and says this is the deal we're going to get, what will you tell him?
Well, first, I don't want to assume what's going on. I did have a good conversation, a long conversation with Dominic LeBlanc. I want to thank him for his service down in the U.S. He's been basically every single day they're sitting down negotiating the deal. But I've been very clear. We want a fair deal for Ontario. We want a fair deal for Canadians. And we negotiate through strength, not weakness. And we have to make sure that before anything happens, we protect our auto sector, our steel sector, our agricultural sector, our forestry sector, and our friends in the aluminum sector in Quebec. We need to protect the manufacturing sector before we put any booze on the shelves whatsoever. But we're going to work closely with the federal government. We are the engine of Canada. We're going to continue driving the economy, creating more jobs as we did 52,000 jobs. And I love the fact that we only create the condition, folks. It's the hardworking people out there and the entrepreneurs and the businesses that created 52,000 jobs last month, leading North America, kicking the Americans' butt, by the way, because they went down, we went way up, and 119,000 jobs in 4 months. I want to thank the people of Ontario. We are kicking butt right now in uncertain times. That's the amazing thing. Even in good times, we don't see these numbers. So we've all pulled together, and what I've seen is anytime we've ever faced a challenge, no matter if it's a pandemic or Donald Trump's tariffs and his attack on our economy, we pull together and no one can defeat us because we're all working together at all levels of government, businesses, frontline union workers. We're working together to make sure we thrive and prosper and grow, the likes of which this province has never seen. And we're going to continue doing that.
Hi, Premier. Laura Stone, Globe and Mail.
Hi, Laura.
Nice to see you again. It's been
Good
a
to
while.
see you.
Yeah. Come back anytime.
Thank you.
Daily briefings.
You're welcome.
Premier, just to follow on that question, so it sounds like from your answer, you're comfortable with U.S. alcohol being used as a bargaining chip in this latest series of talks. If tariffs are lowered on those key sectors that you mentioned, you are open to putting alcohol back on the shelves.
I do not, I'm going to emphasize, use alcohol as a bargaining chip. During the negotiations, if we get a fair deal that will protect our steel sector, our auto sector, our forestry sector, agriculture sector, manufacturing sector, then we'd be more than happy to bring booze back on the shelves only if we have a deal that's going to protect those sectors.
And so in terms of what's fair, it's our understanding at the Globe that for the auto sector, the U.S. is proposing lowering tariffs but keeping them about 10 to 15% on autos, and in exchange dropping retaliatory tariffs on U.S. autos. So if there is a baseline 10 to 15% tariff on Ontario's auto sector, would you consider that fair?
Well, what I would say, since we produce about 1.8 million autos a year, every single tariff, we have to match tariff for tariff. We can't negotiate through weakness. They can't put tariffs on our autos, and we can't and we aren't putting tariffs on theirs. We're their number one customer, folks. We buy 400% more vehicles in Canada than any jurisdiction in the entire world. And if they don't play ball on the autos, who's it going to hurt? It's going to hurt their auto sector. Yes, it will hurt ours, but we'll make sure we get creative and we'll continue moving forward when possible. I always say when possible, because cars are very personal. Look at the great vehicles that are made here in Ontario. And we're making sure that governments across the province, and I just hope they do it across the country, that buy Ontario-made vehicles when possible. I keep emphasizing that because sometimes it's not possible. But we have great auto companies, and we have great auto employees that are top in the world. Like one that you like mentioning all the time, right down the street, we'll be driving by, is Toyota, ranked number one in the world. Not just in Toyota, but auto manufacturers. And that goes back to the great auto workers that we have.
Premier Ford, good morning. Ahmed El-Bayoumi with Polycorner. Premier, you've mentioned Donald Trump quite a bit this morning. So I want to ask you about something the opposition is describing as Trump-style politics. Can you explain, Premier, why taxpayer money was used to send an operative to, I quote, spy on, essentially stalk a political opponent of yours, while Bonnie Crombie was on a 3-day vacation in Jamaica in 2023? It's being described as creepy, disgusting, despicable, and beyond inappropriate. Can you explain that?
Yeah, well, I just found out yesterday, you'd have to talk to the party about it. It was $3,000 of the party's money, and I didn't know until yesterday. But talk to the party. I don't approve of it, but here nor there, that was $3,000 of the party's money. But thank you for the question.
Premier, you say you weren't aware of it. You're the leader of the Ontario PC Party. If you didn't know that your political operation was sending someone overseas to spy on a political opponent, who's running the show? And does I don't know absolve you of responsibility for something that your own staff did, those who work for you?
I don't watch every single dollar when I'm in the middle of a campaign, the largest in the country. I rely on our team to make sure that they spend it appropriately. And as I said, I found out, I think it was yesterday they came up and told me, but you can talk to the party. It was $3,000 of the party's money. I want to emphasize that was the party's money. Do I agree? No. But next question.
Premier Steve Cornwell from the Trillium. Just disappointed that there's a taxpayer subsidy that goes to political donations, so there is a portion of that is taxpayer money. And I just wanted to flag on one piece for you. The opposition party is saying that opposition parties are saying this is very much over the line. And you're a politician through your career that's always been very protective of privacy. Do you feel like this was over the line? Is this? Do you agree with them?
You know something? You'd have to talk to the party. I wouldn't do it, but again, things happen. It's no different than myself. When the media has followed me down to Florida, they followed me to Chicago, New Jersey, and so on and so forth at a lot higher cost. But you know something? It's politics. It was $3,000. I found out yesterday, and that's it.
But do you expect these kind of tactics to continue? I mean, the Liberals are picking a new opposition leader, a new leader.
I hope not. I hope not. Let's just have fair and balanced elections. Stuff happens during the elections.
Santana Bellantoni, Guelph today.
Hi. Thank you for having me to Guelph.
So in Fergus, nearby, a tech company is proposing what it calls an ecological AI center, where it says it'll use waste heat for vertical farming. Are you going to require data centers, new data centers, to show some form of ecological benefit or implement climate safeguards in order to be approved?
Well, we're going to have a stringent, but put it this way, it's not just us, it's everyone around North America, around the world. It seems like everyone and their brother in the band thinks they're data center experts. They aren't. We're going to take the best of the best in the entire world because we have the best province in the entire world. They're going to go through a rigorous application process. And the question is, what are the benefits you're bringing to the community? Rather than, we're putting a penny into these, by the way, I want to see the benefits. We have the quality of the people to run it, as we have right here. We have the energy to run it, and it's not going to be one single penny of taxpayers' money through the electricity. If anything, if they're larger, we encourage them to put their own power system in, and we'll charge them a premium as well. But this is the way the world's going, no matter if it's social media, if it's healthcare, businesses. Data center has been around for decades and decades. We're going to another level, AI, and we have two choices. We either do our own data centers and keep our own data sovereignty, or we let President Trump run us over like he has in other areas. I choose that we have data sovereignty. We protect Canada, we protect Ontario from the bully down south.
There's obviously trepidation from municipalities with a moratorium Oakville put in yesterday, and many municipalities proposing the same, like Centre Wellington from a councillor there. How do you expect to gain support from municipalities if there's this trepidation?
Yeah, you know something, that's up to the cities, no matter if it's Oakville. I think, honestly, I think people have to learn a lot more about data centers. It's ironic if a municipality says, I don't want a data center, but all my businesses need a data center. They need AI. My hospital needs AI. And everyone that lives in that community uses social media, uses computers. It doesn't add up. You can't say I don't want it in my backyard, but by the way, we're going to use all that power and all the information and the data centers to run my community. It just doesn't add up. This is the way of the future. Either we do it or Donald Trump's going to do it. And I'm not giving Donald Trump nothing, absolutely nothing.
Premier Mark McAllister from City News. Let's talk about e-scooters and e-bikes. Toronto is trying to do their own enforcement blitz of the bylaws that are in place. Toronto Fire obviously dealing with a number of battery fires. We do know across the country there are kids dying, going to ER rooms. It's banned in Toronto at this point. Other municipalities have their own rules. Is the province considering any kind of standardization when it comes to these devices?
So we're talking about the e-bikes?
E-bikes, e-scooters.
You and I, we drive down, probably all of you drive down the city. It's crazy. They're unlicensed smaller motorcycles. And they're zipping through lights. They're zipping all over the place. They're dangerous. They're dangerous. So I'm going to work with the municipalities and see what they think. But do you know what I'd like to do? Maybe you can help me. Find out how many people have been killed on those e-bikes. Because man, they're dangerous vehicles, and these scooters and everything else. So I'll leave it up to the cities. They know their city well. But man, you're seeing them all over the place.
That said, there are municipalities across the country. If you wanted a number, 10 children across the country have died as a result of accidents like this. So leaving it to municipalities to make up their own rules. Why do that when you could potentially put something in place as a province?
I respect the municipalities. I walked a mile in their shoes. I was down at City Hall. They can make a decision, just like any other municipality can make a decision. If they want to license the e-bikes, monitor them, that's going to be up to them. But people are riding e-bikes. I get it. Some of these delivery services that deliver food, they're trying to make a living. But guys, you gotta chill out a little bit. You're going like a bat out of you know what down the roads. And I see them. They look around. Oh, you guys see them too. They look around, and we're on kind of the side street. We're going down whatever street it might be, College or whatever. And they look around and zing right through the red light. What are you going to do? Chase them? Pull them over? We have to have some enforcement. But anyways, that's my my thoughts on e-bikes.
Alexandra Hollick with CTV News Kitchener. Premier, thank you for taking our questions. My first question here, Madani Johans, a man who arrived here in Guelph from Eritrea back in 2018, has a history of violence and sexual offenses and has been in and out of jail more than a dozen times for breaking the terms of his release orders. One time he was actually let out for less than 4 hours before breaching his condition. This week he was denied bail. What will your government do to break this cycle and help put Guelph residents at ease?
Well, myself, I led the entire country on bail reform. I was going after the federal government, and I want to thank the federal government for actually implementing it. That's number one. What they need to do is they have to have mandatory sentences. And the judges have to be tougher. We're building thousands and thousands of more spaces in these jails, more jail cells, but no more bleeding heart judges. You're letting someone out in your community that I think you said had sexual offenses and all sorts of other stuff. You're going to jail. You're going to jail for 5 to 10 years, and we solve the problem. Stop letting these criminals out to terrorize neighborhoods, to terrorize the good people of Guelph. I could take a poll out in Guelph. It doesn't matter if they support the green, the orange, the red, or the blue. Do you want a guy like this terrorizing your neighborhoods? Do you trust your poor little kids going out to a park or your wife walking along? Well, this lunatic is running around. Repeat offender, repeat offender, repeat offender. Let's toughen up, folks. People get confused. The criminal code is controlled by the federal government. We need to throw these criminals in jail and keep our communities safe. And that we need judges. And by the way, I don't want to paint a broad brush. We have phenomenal judges, great judges. But there's some bleeding heart, liberal bleeding heart judges. Oh, John comes in again. Not for the first time, not the second, not the third, not the fourth, fifth time. Well, you know, John, you go out and terrorize that neighborhood and cause more sexual offenses. Disgusting. You shouldn't be sitting on the bench. You should resign. I'd like to see it happens in your neighborhood. But there's still incredible judges. I don't want to paint it with a broad brush. But as you can tell, it drives me absolutely crazy. We need to protect our communities from these criminals and these break-and-enters and these car thefts. They're terrorizing neighborhoods. They're terrorizing our neighborhood right down the street where I live. Like, you have community groups getting together, hiring their own security because these people are going in, checking their doors. They have them on video cameras. I'd like to throw all of them in jail, get them off the streets because it's a small percentage of the population. They're all a bunch of cowardly little punks. Can't stand them. But thank you for getting me going. I was really focused on data centers today. I'll tell you, everyone feels the same way. I'm the only guy saying it. And you talk to moms at home that are worried about leaving their kids at home. I don't blame them. But I'm doing everything I can to throw the book at these criminals.
Thank you. We also have the case of Guelph Police Constable Corey MacArthur, who pleaded guilty to assaulting a teen handcuffed to a hospital bed for his own safety. Because of MacArthur's appeals to the case, he's been on unpaid leave for 10 years, and he's now appealed again with no end date in sight. Should the taxpayers be on the hook for his 6-figure salary?
Well, I'll leave that up to the police to work out, or the courts, or whoever's working it out. I can tell you 99.9%. We have great police. I love our police. I'll support our police and always have their backs. There's always a bad apple within any group. I don't know the case, so I don't want to comment, but that will be up to the police. And actually, I'm heading over to visit the police headquarters in Guelph. I just want to go in and thank them. Mayor, are you coming over with me? Yeah, they're absolute champions over there. And by the way, the chief is an absolute champ. He's the champ of all champs. The technology he's using is second to none. Working with our great mayor again. Mayor, why are you leaving? Yeah. One of the great mayors. Well, that's all right. I think he's becoming a football coach or something, are you? Yeah. Okay. No, he's a phenomenal mayor. I hope the people of Guelph elect as good a mayor as the mayor we have today.
Good morning, Premier. Jordan Snowman with the Wellington Advertiser. About a half hour north in Fergus, there's an old brownfield site that's being eyed for a data center. Some residents are quite opposed to that.
Yeah.
They're concerned about water use mostly, resource impact, as well as environmental impacts. What do you say to people who don't want data centers in their communities?
Well, they're misinformed. And I saw a couple friends here shaking their head. They're misinformed. They have a closed circuit system that it actually uses less water than a crop or a lot of places. And I'm no expert, but I have experts here. Who wants to take a shot at this one? Stephen, Michael, any of you guys? And maybe, Mike, when you have a minute, can you come up and say what we operate here? Come on, buddy.
Thank you, Premier. The whole idea of the playbook is to give the guidance to all of the communities, to all of the businesses, what we expect to do. First of all, we expect them to pay for everything. No incentives from the government, but they're going to be paying for their own facilities, for their own power, either bringing their own power, but paying for their own power. With respect to water, in older communities, older data centers, there was a time when water was an issue. Today, there are many data centers that don't use any water. One of the statistics that's well discussed is golf courses in the United States. Every single golf course in the U.S. put together uses 500 billion gallons of water a year. Every single data center in the U.S. uses 20 billion gallons of water a year. Our plan is to make certain that and give priority to the data centers that use a closed loop system. With respect to other environmental issues, we have some of the best restrictions in the country. These companies will come to Ontario under all of our existing environmental restrictions, including noise and other. So the whole idea is to get the best value for the people of Ontario, make sure that we do no harm to the people of Ontario, make sure that they're investing in communities, whether it's in parks or community centers. So it's to negotiate the best deal. The purpose today is to announce the fact that we have a playbook in place now.
Yeah, I would just add to that you know, we are so blessed to be in the province of Ontario. I mean, we have a great climate, we have lots of land, and we have an incredible tech talent pool. We have over 450,000 tech workers in this province. So we have a tremendous opportunity to store data. Right now, a lot of our data is crossing the border. Data is the new gold. This is critically important that we as a government and corporations keep their data right here in the province of Ontario. We are committed to doing that. We are committed to doing that, working with municipalities, ensuring that any data center is environmentally friendly, it creates jobs, economic benefits, and is in a community that welcomes it. And we're very confident that Ontario is a great destination. Over the last 7 or 8 years, our government has also been very focused on building the energy grid. This is critically important. Ontario is blessed with energy, and we're building that through the SMR. We'll have the first small modular reactor in the G7. So companies from around the world and within Canada want to invest in Ontario because of a stable workforce and a stable government. So we're excited. We think this is a tremendous opportunity.
Great. Maybe Mike and Anna, do you want to come on? Don't be shy. You get Mike? Okay. This guy's smart as a cookie. There's a few other guys back there smart as a cookie, too. I wish I could get everyone up there.
Yeah, maybe just
introduce yourself and then tell them what we do here.
Right. So I'm the ministry official that has the team that supports our Guelph data center facility. It's one of 4 in North America. And to the points around data being a critical resource for Ontarians, all the government services that require a digital backbone emanate from the Guelph data center. We're really proud of the work that we do here and the support it provides to everyday Ontarians.
So what do? They keep the health cards?
Yeah.
Just run through everything.
Yeah. So if you think about Service Ontario experiences with respect to driver and vehicle licensing or health card renewals, we have our servers here that run in the background, 4,000 or so physical and virtual machines that enable the processing of those transactions at Service Ontario counters, online and in person, or on the phone, as an example.
Thank you. Okay, folks, are we any more? 2 more. Okay.
Yeah, and Premier, as a follow-up, how much say will municipal councils get in terms of allowing data centers? How much input, how much power do they have over whether they actually get built in a municipality with this playbook?
Well, that's gonna be up to the mayor and the council to pass a resolution if they want a data center. But again, I find it, I guess, hypocritical. That's the word. We're going to use all the data. We're going to use everything, but we aren't going to put it in our backyard. Folks, we either move forward, and we have the expertise, over 450,000 tech jobs here, or guess what? We forget about it, everything is controlled by the U.S., and the economy starts going down. This is a no-brainer. Either lead the way around the world, because it's happening no matter what, and we be the leaders and responsible leaders and get community benefits, and we get tens of thousands of jobs, $122 billion of investment to drive our economy, or we might as well just close up the door and say, okay, no technology here in Ontario. It'd be the worst thing we could ever do.
Premier, Brent Davis from the Waterloo Region Record.
Yes.
On the issue of data centers, should you find an unwilling host municipality in an area where a data center is desired, would your government use a minister's zoning order or something similar to bring it to a community that does not want it?
Well, I'd sit down with the mayor and council, and we'd consult with the community. But I'd rather go to a willing host. But again, it's easy to say no because people heard it on social media. And we know everything's truthful on social media. You know, when I was flying in on social media, there was a pink elephant flying around Guelph. You know, there was thousands of people that would believe that. Guys, get informed. It drives me crazy that people are misinformed. Do your due diligence. Do your research. Data centers have been around for decades. But you get on that social media and it just starts ramping up. It's probably the best and the worst thing God ever created was that social media. It's good if it's used well, but it's terrible in other cases. Oh my goodness. I feel like I'm preaching to the choir. All of you guys know, because eventually the social media is taking over your jobs, unfortunately. It's terrible. Just terrible.
This will be the last reporter.
Oh, Jamie. Oh, no, last reporter? Okay. I got to get my favorite guy in here, Jamie, after you. Go ahead.
All right, I'll squeeze in before Jamie. Alison Jones of the Canadian Press. On that topic of municipalities and data centers, I know you've said that a lot of their concerns are misinformed.
Yeah.
Your government has given municipalities essentially a veto power over wind farms in their communities.
Yeah.
Would you do that for data centers? And if not, what is the difference?
Well, I don't want to put in a data center where there's not a willing host, right? I just wouldn't want to do that. So let's sit down. We'll talk about about that with the municipalities. We have AMO coming up, which all the municipalities are going to be there, and the mayor's going to be there as well. But it's a conversation we're going to have to have. If someone said, okay, you aren't having a data center, but you aren't getting any data, you aren't using your social media, people would flip in about 3 seconds. So you can't have NIMBYism. I'm going to use all the benefits of data centers, which are not bad. They've come so far. They're not bad whatsoever. They're actually good, really good. But we want all the benefits, but we don't want anything to do with it. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. It's the way of the future. It's going to drive the world economy. There's trillions and trillions of dollars around the world being invested in. I always like being a leader. I like being first place, Ontario, which we are. And we're going to drive forward with the technology and very strict environmental standards. But if any data center thinks they're coming into Ontario and getting a freebie, not happening. Go down south, go somewhere else. You're going to come, and we're only going to pick a few of you. You tell me all the great benefits you're going to give to the community. Are you building a recreation center? Are you supporting other areas that the community needs? And then once they negotiate, because it usually starts off going through the mayor and the city council, and if they put a proposal, because by the way, I've had many proposals from mayors saying, here, we want this data center here. Well, let's see the benefits. There's no way they're getting off scot-free, I'll tell you that. We're gonna charge them a pretty penny.
And on a completely different topic, Billy Bishop and Alto, we understand that you and the Prime Minister had a deal supporting like for like. We've seen seemingly a change in position from the Prime Minister on Billy Bishop. What is your current position on the Alto high-speed rail project?
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to continue extending the runway, number one, for safety. I can't see anyone who would be against progress, lower fees, more convenient travel. But I would recommend this. As we move forward, I truly believe we're going to convert that airport. Let the people decide. Let the market decide. If people don't like it, they aren't going to have planes there. But guess what? Every single person knows that airport will be a phenomenal success. Just like the same group many years ago under David Miller, Mayor David Miller, didn't want anything. They wanted to actually turn an economic area, it's beautiful for the economy, into a park. That's what some of these councillors want to do. Leave it in a park. Let's put the over 2 million people that fly out of that airport, let's shove them up to Pearson to make it more jammed. Let's get there 3 or 4 hours ahead of time to catch a flight. Instead of a real asset, build an airport downtown and allow people to have the convenience and a lower cost and thousands of jobs. And guess what, folks? Not $1 of taxpayers' money. You go anywhere else in the world, they'd say, you got to be kidding. We have a company that's willing to put $5 billion into it. No taxpayers' money, hire thousands of jobs and convenience and lower costs. I will guarantee you the market would dictate it would be a massive success. And that's the people that don't want the airport. They're terrified of that because they don't want the people to succeed. There's certain people out there that don't want any progress. They don't want more jobs. They don't want an expansion of the airport. God forbid we get people from point A to point B on Highway 413 or the Bradford bypass. God help us if we build, the largest transit system in North America. It's these same people that are no. Well, we know what happened. For 15 years, the NDP and Liberal destroyed our province. Now we're back on our front foot, creating more jobs than anywhere in North America, building the largest nuclear facility in the world, leading the world in small modular reactors, leading the world when it comes to critical minerals and thousands of jobs. That's what we're doing. We're moving forward because in Ontario, we have the brightest, smartest people in the world, and we are leaders, and we're going to continue to lead in the world. Only Vic hears it, because I don't travel around the world. Vic hears it. And Vic, do you have a minute? Tell them what you hear from businesses and from governments out there around the world.
Look, we were in about 20 countries last year, landed $35 billion in investment here in the province of Ontario by those companies. 750 companies landed here last year. Those companies alone hired 64,000 people. And as the Premier said earlier, this is in the market where there's tariffs and a world that has a real huge business chill. But around the world, no matter whether it's in Asia or in Europe, they look across the ocean and they tell us this at every single country. There's one place that is a beacon of light, and they're talking about the province of Ontario because they know when they come here, they're going to be able to get exactly the kind of things that are promised to them. Low taxes, reduced taxes, less red tape, all of the things, lots of talent. It's always about the talent. You heard earlier, 450,000 tech workers alone, 95,000 STEM grads. But they look across and they know when they make a deal in the province of Ontario that they're going to get what they expect. Reliable government, dependable, but mostly predictable. It's not that like in the States where it will flip day to day. You just don't know what you're going to get. But here in the province of Ontario, that's what we hear all around the world. And believe me, this is shown up in our numbers. More than 1 million new jobs in Ontario, $235 billion in investment in 8 years. When in our history of the province did that ever happen?
Okay, folks.
No.
I'm sorry. Yeah, let's see how we move forward. I always believe in working with different levels of government. But I'll tell you one thing: my Eastern Ontario caucus and the people out in Eastern Ontario, they're losing their minds about Alto right now. And I guess it's the same. You know, you get some people downtown that may not want the airport, but I don't know. You know something? I've asked them to go out into the field again, because a polling company went out and said it was 68 to 70% in favor of it. And they went out 3 times. They went for one of the big banks. I think they even did one for the feds. They did one for another organization. And they came back with the same numbers. I said, how old is it? They said about 4 weeks old. I said, go back and tell me what the people are thinking. Because I personally feel the people downtown, all those new condos, people don't want to hop in their car, fight traffic for an hour, all the way up to Pearson, get there 3 hours in advance. They love the convenience about going down the street and hopping on a plane to go wherever, you know, go across our country. Alto, let's see what happens. But I'm always willing to work with everyone. I owe Jamie a question. Jamie.
This morning, Toronto police officer was shot. A person is under arrest right now with a history of violent offenses, according to Toronto police. Over 600 police officers were injured. Toronto police officers were injured this year in the line of their duty. I know you point to Ottawa saying the bail has to change, but the JPs that let these people out are under the payroll of Ontario.
That's right.
The Crown attorneys that argue for the bail conditions are under the payroll of Ontario. The system is Ontario's system. Why is this happening?
But the criminal code falls under, our hands are tied to a certain degree, Jamie, but great question. First of all, my prayers and thoughts go out to the family of the police officer. We'll always have your backs. We'll always be there to support you. But these JPs, anyone starts letting these guys out on bail, you should be fired. You should be gone. Why are you a JP if you want to hurt the community? Why are you a judge if you want to hurt the community? It's absolutely ridiculous. You know what would solve this problem, Jamie? Very simple. Reduce the Young Offenders Act from 18 down to 16, because you're 16, 17, 18. When I was young, I sure knew not to hold a gun, break into people's homes, terrorize the family, which, by the way, when you get a home invasion, it's with you for life. The bleeding hearts, enough is enough. These people have to go to jail. And I'll always support our police. I'll never, ever waver. And we're going to keep fighting every step of the way to make it safer here in Ontario. I want to be the safest jurisdiction. But the federal government has to have mandatory sentencing. Not up to the judges. It should be mandatory. You break into someone's house, you shoot a police officer, you're done. 10, 20 years in jail. I have zero tolerance. So the feds, you got to do your job. I gave the Prime Minister, I handed him a letter signed by every single premier with a list of 6 different items given to me by the chiefs of police, their request of Canada, not just Ontario. These are the things that they need done. So I'll be following up with the Prime Minister and asking him where we stand. It was signed off by all the premiers in the entire country. So let's start moving forward. And people measure politics. People don't want crime. They don't want people breaking into their homes. They don't want these nasty people. I'd throw every single one of them in jail for a long time. We'll keep building the jail cells. And like I said before, I don't care if we stack them up like pancakes. We're going to put them in jail. And we're going to keep them there for a long time. You're going to think twice about breaking law and terrorizing neighborhoods and going after families. But thank you. God bless the people of Ontario. Greatest jurisdiction in the world. We're going to keep moving forward. And I want to thank the mayor and everyone at the data center. Your champions. Keep moving forward. Thanks, everyone.